I know that you will be with me when I'm standing in the fire. I will not be overcome. Through the valley of the shadow, I will not fear. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. In the midst of deep sorrow, I see your light is breaking through the dark of night will not overtake me. I am pressing into you. Lord, you fight my every battle, and I will not fear. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You amaze me, redeem me. You call me as your own. You're my strength. You're my defender. You're my refuge in the storm. Through these trails, you will always be faithful. You bring healing to my soul. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. No, I am not alone. You will never for me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me.
Good morning, everyone. Today's reading is from True Mother Hak Ja Han Moon, an anthology, Cheongyul Guk and Our Mission. The Lord has found his bride God's only begotten daughter, and they have manifested as the true parents. All of humankind needs to meet true parents who are the representatives of Heavenly Parent. They should attend and follow true parents. Only then can they eradicate original sin, which has been passed down for 6,000 years. It is easy for siblings to quarrel among themselves when their parents are not present. The reason such struggles continue is because children do not always understand their parents' intentions. We can understand our parents' intentions only when we create a bond of heart with them in true love. You must attain oneness in thought and oneness in harmony with the true parents. Your oneness with true parents must be manifested in your thoughts, emotions, words, and deeds. When you live your life as a true child who resembles the true parents, you will understand that other people are not strangers but your brothers and sisters who share the same lineage as you. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 to 13. This, then, is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Aju.
Good, lovely morning. It's a wonderful time right now, amazing time. I was looking up what February is all about. You know, it's Black History Month, it's International Mother Language Month, and it's also Hot Breakfast Month. You know, so there are lots of good things that goes on in February, but for us, it is the best time. January, February, it's the most awesome time because we celebrate God's Day, True Parents' birthday, and all the greatest moments in history. Isn't that so? Yes, it's an awesome time. Let's applaud for that. And none of that sounds like breakfast or Black history. These are important things, but most important is that our Heavenly Parent can be liberated by the true parents. I can't guarantee that I'll give the sermon, the same sermon I gave this morning, but I'll try my best. I wanted to refer to my reading this morning, but I left it and I didn't want to disrupt the sermon. So I will refer to my reading a little bit before I get into some things. You know, our Lord Jesus, do you know what is great about Lord Jesus? One of the greatest things then, our Father. It was the first time in history we learned that God is our parent. That was amazing. That was amazing. That's one of the greatest things. Our Father who art in heaven. The other thing he said is, thy kingdom come, thy will be done where? On earth, as it is in heaven. Right? So, two amazing things in that one prayer. That the kingdom should come on earth. So, we have our true father and our true mother. Our true parents came. The only begotten son and only begotten daughter. The only begotten son has gone to spirit world. And a lot of the world doesn't know yet. Even if they know, they're like, I am not sure. Right? So, I was listening a lot to the activities in Korea. I was listening to, especially last night, I watched the opening events, and True Mother gave a speech, and before she could speak, you know, she was standing there receiving all the gifts and flowers, and then Mother asked for a chair. She was tired. She had to sit down. And in her speech, she talked about that. A very short speech, but she said, you know, I pushed my body to the limit for the last 7 years. since True Father's ascension to spirit world. I pushed my body to the limit, and now I have to use a chair. Honestly, I was thinking, Mother, please use the chair. You're 77. I need the chair, and I'm not there. So, but the heart behind, True Mother saying, I had to push myself so that she could accomplish 7 nations, so that she could bring national restoration and push us as tribal messiahs. Father's been talking about tribal messiahs since I came to this church in the 1970s as a kid, And Mother said, no more talking about it. We're going to do it. Yes. So she pushed us out there. Become tribal messiahs. And it was not easy for our mother, the only begotten daughter. I feel kind of repentant, very, because I wish I'd been proclaiming more of who the true parents are. So now we're starting out a new 7 year. And this time, these 7 years, we've got to get it. We've got to push for the nation to become one family under God. It's nice to give an applause, but we ain't going to be applauding if we know how much work we have to do. We have to do the work. And I will say it's beautiful work, although it's hard work. I have to tell you, every time I've gone to Korea for anything, it's been hard. You have to climb hills and mountains, and you're like, oh my God, do they ever, you wake up early, it's nonstop. But guess what? I come back and I'm on top of the world. It's always beautiful. So that's our course. Divine Principle tells us on page 45, a person cannot perform true actions apart from a relationship with God. A person cannot perform true actions apart from a relationship with God. This nation cannot perform all the stuff you're seeing in politics. Do you think that's going to change if this nation doesn't come to have a relationship with God? Never. Politics and social life, you name it. Those things are not going to change. You're not going to see people stop walking down the runways naked and whatever else, It's not going to change unless people have a relationship with God. But how do they come to have a relationship with God? It says, Divine Principle again says, the body cannot act apart from its relationship with the mind. I see, according to the principle, there is central history and periphery history. There is internal and external. There's mind and there's body. In my view, we are like the mind of this nation, the original mind. Everybody's looking at me. Yes, we were raised by who? True parents. And we are very precious people. The moderator, said something to this extent when he was speaking, praying about our value. We have to know that the investment of work that true parents put into us, personally in some instances, choosing even our spouses, raising us up. I still remember the days, and in repentance now I remember those days, when you'd go to East Garden or Belvedere, and Father's giving a long speech, and I'm just sitting there, my neck is rolling in every direction, because I'm sleeping, you know. But that's an investment that true parents made. They invested in us. They started numerous organizations, you name it. I work for the federal government, and they have these, they call them CFC, I forget what it means. This campaign where they have a book about this thick, where there are lists of organizations, and you could choose any one of them and donate, out of your paycheck every month, or every pay period, you could donate to these organizations. So one time I was trying to go through those organizations and compare it with some of the organizations that I remember. There are more, just the ones I remember, that true parents have started. And it's about a quarter of that booklet that the federal government has. That's how much work our true parents have done globally. Globally. They've invested in making us the original mind of each of our nations. So the song this morning said, I'll never leave you anymore. I'll greet all men with a loving heart. I'll speak the truth with a clear voice. We'll do these sorts of things. We make the world that's new, that's fit for kings and queens. It's not intended that we should just sing words, is it? Not our kind of people. It's really a call to action for us. After so much love has been poured into each of our lives, and maybe we don't know it because it always seems hard. It always seems like a struggle. I'm like that. I just went through 2 years of torture at my job. I was falsely accused of something, and when we got to the bottom of it, it was because I'm from the Unification Church. Somebody found out that I'm from the Unification Church. It's illegal. But I paid a heavy price. But I came out victorious. Thank you. I came out, but that's because that is how much God cares for us. I was all wrapped up in my woes and miseries and begging everybody to pray for me. Thank you. But the bottom line is, Heavenly Parent, it's not the time, but the victory was so resounding. 4 of the people, and I really am sorry for them and their situations, 4 of the people who came together and concocted this had to leave. Now, I don't want that for anybody, but you can't do things and not pay the price. Meanwhile, we have to understand that as we think we're struggling, what I learned from that, as we think we're going through all that, God helped me to grow so much. During that time, the one thing I learned is absolute heart of love. Absolute heart, and siblings quarreling, it says in the readings, but absolute, because I was thinking, True Father went through Danbury. True Father was in jail in North Korea, tortured. True Father was imprisoned in South Korea. And the only thing he had to say was about his love for the people and his care for God's will. Yes, they were wrong, but the unwavering heart of love from our true Father was my example. So I fought very hard, wasn't easy, to have that kind of heart, to love those who were persecuting me because they found out I'm a Moody. You know. So I say this because this is who we were trained to be. Do you understand when I say we're precious? Everybody has their own journey. This is my journey. Somebody may be going through their health. Somebody may be going through addictions. Somebody may be going through something. But we have to know that God has got us. Yes. Heavenly Parent invested in taking care of us because we are the mind of this nation, original mind. So, as the original mind, as those who are to carry the original mind into this nation, we must come to create an absolute oneness of heart with God and true parents. You know, oneness is vertical. We will not waver in our love, in our faith, in our belief in God and true parents and the divine principle and all the things they ask us to. We will not waver. Everybody say we will not waver. We will not waver. That's the vertical. Horizontally, we're all different. We have all our different styles, you know. Some people are very quiet and some people are very loud. Some people, you know, have different talents. That's diversity. So diversity is horizontal. So some people will go out and bless people on the street. Some people will invite people into their homes and bless them. You know, we will all find our own unique path, but we will do it, won't we? Yeah. So, we have to think about ourselves as the mind of this nation. As the mind of this nation, we can be involved. We got to promote true parents' beliefs and ideology. Head-wing thought. You know, sometimes when I see the politicians bickering, I'm thinking, how does true parents' ideal solve this problem? We always have to think. Head-wing thought. Don't be captured emotionally by the things we see. That's Satan's little hook, you know. Like to hook us emotionally, and division, and, you know, they're Democrats and they're Republicans. We were all one family, you know. Yeah. So, divine principle says the original mind is that faculty of the human mind which pursues absolute goodness. It's the faculty of the human mind which pursues absolute goodness. So, if we are the original mind of this nation, and we have that oneness of heart with heavenly parents and true parents, then what are we pursuing? Absolute goodness. We're promoting it too. You know, it says the body cannot act apart from the relationship with the mind. So the nation, the rest of the nation, cannot become a better nation apart from the relationship with those of us who represent God and true parents. So then how do we do it? Now, this is the part nobody likes. Because it means we have to do 100 million things at the same time. You have to take care of her family. Crescentia, I empathize with her because I was there. You have a baby inside, 2 babies outside, and you're trying to build a kingdom. You know? So this is what we have to do. We have to do it all. She has to hear my problems and everybody else's problems, and the baby's kicking around, you know. She's hungry. She has to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Same for True Mother. She's going, but she has to sit down. And then somewhere inside, True Mother went to the bathroom and everybody's waiting. This is our life. 100 million things. But we can do them. You know, some people are very good at doing things in a big way, and some people, maybe halfway. And then others are really good at nice and small. Cynthia Nakai, she's excellent, you know, at doing beautiful small things. It has the same impact. So, I propose to you that we should start thinking like that. How can I do it? How can I do it in my own little way or in my own big way? How can I be the mind of this nation and help my nation and my community? So we could, you know, maybe if you're good at, I say you could do every morning, you could say hello to your neighbor. If you're good at that. I am not good at that. I'm always late for work, so I'm always rushing. There's no time to say good morning. But if that's your thing and you could do that, say good morning to a few neighbors. You know, some people can go to their local mayor, make a little card, and write good divine principle words or quotes from true parents to uplift them, to encourage them. If you do that once a month, you bet the mayor and the council people will get to know you. They'll start looking out for those cards. You know, they may even invite you to be on a committee. So there are different things. I'm sure there are thousands of ideas if we start thinking about it. But I'll just share a little testimony of what happened to me. So I'm usually the kind of person who will jump in. Oh, okay, we could do that. And then when I do that, I'm like, what happened? What did I sign up for? So it's true. It's very easy to get me, and I often have to check myself, you know, because I'll willingly say, oh, yeah, I could do that. Really? So when True Mother was coming, I wanted to just pray, so I took my family, and for 70 days we went and we prayed at Prudential. I said, that's all we're going to do. But Reverend Sato, Kathy Sato, who never leaves me alone, called me up, hi, Denise, do you want to do minister outreach? It's like, all right, you can't say no to Reverend Sato. So I agreed, and she gave me, I think, 7 churches, and I caught Michio Rurup and Joy Laskari. You know, I always find them, and they always say no, and then they say yes. They happily said yes this time, and we went out together. So we went to this Episcopalian/Anglican church, and Reverend Budhu, who's also from Guyana. And normally you'd think if a person is from the same country of origin, it's going to be easy. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. So Reverend Budhu was like, oh, yeah, maybe, you know, all right, you know, nothing substantial. But as we had more and more conversations, you know, I'm very good at using diplomatic ways, so I used all my diplomacy to challenge his concepts. And somehow, in the course of our conversation, it came up that I go to seminary. And he was impressed. I told him I'm doing my doctorate in ministry. That was one of those things that I said, I could do that. And then I was like, what am I doing? But he was impressed with that, and I think he felt he could help me. That was really the crux of the matter. I can help this, you know, I've been doing this 54 years, he told me. I've been doing this 50, I've been a priest, 54 years. So I was okay with that. I will take any help I could get. But my focus was to get him to Prudential Center. So he said, yeah, maybe we could come. I said, oh, actually, we need you to bring a bus. He was like, a bus? And then he said, well, I don't know, the people, this, that, makes, yeah. However, I told him, no, don't worry. You don't have to pay for the bus. We will give you the bus. Then he said, oh, well, now you're talking. And he started to prepare for it. And but he's kind of slow. And so I was trying to push him. I wish I could be Monica Lois at that time, but I was gently pushing him. And then he was slow at it, but eventually he said, okay, come to this meeting with this interfaith. I run this interfaith group, and they're all from different churches, and we meet. And so if you come to this meeting, maybe that group will also be a part of it, and we could get a bus. So I went to the meeting. I was there. I was nice and humble. And usually I make little, casual comments, thinking they're just casual. And, being an organizer of events with WFWP, they're planning a 50th anniversary event. So I just said some little thing, that's like second nature to me. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I got roped into that group. I had to start attending every week. But we're going along, and he attends True Mothers. Oh, then the day comes for the bus. And I called up Naokimi, proud of myself. And I said, Naokimi, can we get a bus? He said, this is like 7 o'clock in the evening. And he said, the deadline is midnight tonight. I'm like, what? I called the minister. He said the same thing. What? It was impossible. It was too late. I wasn't cognizant of the time. It was too late, and anyway, he said, what am I going to do? He said, I'll just pretend like I forgot. Because he already told the congregation they're going to go on this bus, and he pretended like he forgot. But he came, and he met Reverend Aguilan. I was busy taking another bus. I couldn't even be there to greet him. I was thinking the St. Mark's Church. I was their bus captain. So Reverend Aguilan met him and his wife and another person they brought along. Misayo Bean did a miracle and got us tickets, and he got in because there were no tickets. And that was another reason. He wanted to bring 10 people, but there were no tickets. Anyway, he got in, and he was very inspired, but he was very upset because he really wanted to hear True Mother's speech, and I did not prepare him to bring headphones. So he told me off about it. And I sent the speech, and he was able to listen to it. And a couple of days later, after he listened to it, he called me up. He said, or maybe the same day, I think he had just finished listening to it. He said, oh, Denise, I was thinking, can you give the sermon at my church? And I was at work, and I was like, how do you respond right here now? Well, stutter. Because it's not the Unification Church. I know my people at the Unification Church. This is the Anglican Church. I'm thinking, oh, Lord, I really don't like sermons anyway, so now what do I do? But then I have to think, oh, this is about true parents, not about Denise. Somehow God is going to work through me. You start, self-counseling yourself. That time you need a coach like Naokimi to come and help you out. So I talked myself, and I said, okay, I will do it. So we went along, and I really had to pray because it is a serious matter. it sounds like a great opportunity, but for me, immediately, I went into serious mode because I don't know his congregation. And we know principle, and I'm telling you, we know principle in ways that the Christian people, we know the Bible according to the principle in ways that Christian people don't. So it is not an easy thing to give a sermon at a church. So I had to really think, how do I give them God's truth and divine principle with the Bible without destroying their hearts? Because they're babies to the principle, and you do not want to give them hard rice when they're baby. So I prayed a lot. I went into fasting and praying. I'm not kidding. And I called my whole team, Monica and Peter and Andrea, and everybody came, and a bunch of people, they came to support me in that sermon. Thank you. And after that, he said, by the way, on the 23rd, which is my birthday, February 23rd, the month of great things, could you be the keynote speaker for that Interfaith 50th anniversary? I was like, oh, Lord, it's getting worse and worse. Because, like I said, we're good at putting on our own events. We could say whatever we want. We could present whatever we want. But now I have to speak. It's not my job. With my job, I could speak easily and freely because I could only speak in certain parameters. But now I have to speak before not just the Anglican Church, but people from all these different churches, this interfaith group. Not only that, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe it's 60, 70 people. And then he said, oh, well, last year we had 300 people. We were expecting 500. I said, what? Is this for real? I really started praying and fasting. I am still praying and fasting. This is a serious matter. You can do it. Look, listen to you. When I gave the sermon, I was sweating all over my palms. I was like, oh, But afterwards, a lot of people came up and said, oh, that's so wonderful. And I tried to refer to the messages that their minister gave, because I visited every Sunday before my sermon to really try to understand who they are. I don't know them very well. I don't want to be arrogant about this opportunity to proclaim true parents and just step out there and say, by the way, Reverend Moon is Messiah and only begotten. No, they'll kill people. Unless we are sure that they are prepared, we have to be careful. That is an act of love. Do you see True Mother, what she did, going around and telling these presidents things? Every step was a step of love. Every step. The way she loved those very haughty presidents, with the heart of a mother, and the way she toned her speech to make sure that they could receive it here and not here, Who can beat certain intellectuals, You have to get to the heart. That's how you could see that powerful minister from South Africa stand up, and he's like, well, folks, this is why I think she's true mother, the only begotten daughter. You think that came just like that? Came with a heart of love. That is the heart of heavenly mothers. True mother is carrying the mind of heavenly mother God in her being. we will carry the mind and heart of true parents in our being when we start going out into our communities and really touching the heart and souls of the people. One people we are, one in heart with our true parents. If we're one in heart, then Heavenly Mother will come right through from True Mother directly to us. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one come to the Father but through me. In the same way, true parents are the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody comes except through them. And we have attached ourselves the way Father talked about his persimmon philosophy. We've engrafted ourselves and become little true parents. You know, sometimes we worry about I don't get along with my spouse and this and that, or my children don't really want this. But even if we are going through that, we have to think about how do we witness to our children? How do we witness to our spouse? You know, how do we have the same heart like when you're being attacked by somebody on the street and you turn back and love that person? So when your spouse maybe says something that isn't so great, you're so safe you can go into a fury like, maybe a person outside you might think twice, but because you know your spouse inside out, you might. But what if we stop and use the same techniques to love our spouse, love our children, and then from this, we practice how to love our community, our neighbors whose dogs come and poop in our yard. That happens to me. I have to think how to love them. You know? This is love all the time in every situation. We are the original mind of the nation. We can do this and change this nation. You know? The little things and the big things. If you don't believe me, look at what happened at Prudential. Look at what happened. Just us people in this congregation filled the stadium. Yes. That passion, that heart, that love that we carry for God, that oneness. Let us continue to create it, not just event mode creation, but daily life, every circumstances. And lastly, I want to tell you that Spirit World is always there helping us when we don't know or believe it. Do you know, my grandmother was a very staunch Anglican. And I've never been to the Anglican church. Everybody else in my family got confirmed in the Anglican church, but I never even attended a service. So my grandmother went senile in her 90s, late 80s and into 90s. And the minister, the priest used to come out to the house and administer communion and all of that. My grandmother only remembered Bible verses and songs. So she'd sing these songs over and over. I learned their songs through my grandmother. I go in there like a pro singing the songs. It's all from my grandmother. So the day when I was giving the sermon, it's as though my grandmother, who we liberated and blessed. My grandfather also, he started his own church. He was a minister. Those songs that she would sing, it brought tears to my eyes. Actually, I had to control myself because the song just before was like her most favorite song that she sang over and over. Just before the sermon, that was the song they sang. I felt, oh my God, Spirit World is so there with us. You know, so much help from the spiritual world. So, yes, our uncles or aunties or cousins, whoever in the spirit world that we've liberated, they're going to be there. So let us go forward, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to share and encourage all of us, including myself, that no matter what setbacks we have, no matter what difficulties, let us go forward. This is a joyous time. True mother needs to rest. She's 77 years old. So from now on, it is you and me. Do you know how beautiful it would be if America could really come to some recognition, some high-level recognition of true parents before true mother goes to the spirit world? Can we please work together and get this thing done? Let us support. Thank you. Let us really have one heart with Bishop Kim and Reverend Dunkley and our local pastors, Pastor Crescentia and Pastor Narkimi. They can't do everything. They can't even direct everything. There's a wealth of experience in this room. And, we just have to we have to communicate, something I'm not always good at, but we still have to do it. And we really have to make sure that we are reaching out to everybody in our community. One last thing before I go, I have a lot to do with counseling people. And I always try to make sure that I put a line of principle somewhere in my conversation with them. If it's just explaining what give and take action is all about. Sometimes I can't use God, but I try my best to say things like higher being and, because maybe the person is not Christian and they don't like to say God, and if they're Jehovah's Witness, if you say God and you don't say Jehovah, you're in trouble. So you have to say higher being or something like that, But in conversations with people, if we just whet their appetite, to me it's like one tiny step closer to God, true parents, and the principle. I'm a strong advocate for this. I do believe we can build a kingdom of heaven and earth. I do believe we can advance it very far before all of us go to spirit world. We don't have to wait 1,000 years to see it, the establishment of Christianity. We don't have to wait. True parents went way beyond Jesus' foundation. So we can build a kingdom. Thank you. God bless.